Thomas Hobbes and John Locke were two English philosophers who believed in the idea of natural law, a universal moral law that could be understood by applying reason. Both Hobbes and Locke lived in England during a time when the country was split between people who wanted the king to have absolute power and those who thought that people had the right to govern themselves. This video is all about the differences in theories held by Thomas Hobbes and John Locke. Advances in science during the scientific revolution led philosophers and thinkers to believe that if systematic laws controlled the workings of nature and the universe, then maybe political, economic, and social relationships could also be understood by reasoned or logical analysis. Our first philosopher, Thomas Hobbes, argued that absolute monarchy was the best form of government. And he argued this because Hobbes believed that violence and disorder came naturally to humans, and that without absolute government, there would be chaos. Hobbes spread his ideas in a book which he published in 1651 called Leviathan. This is the cover here. In Leviathan, Hobbes wrote about the dangers of living without a government, and he described life as nasty, brutish, and short when there was no government to control the people. Hobbes believed that people should form a social contract. They should agree to give up freedom and live obediently under a ruler so a monarch would protect them and keep them safe. He also believed that people generally do not have the right to rebel against a government, no matter how unjust it may be. John Locke also believed that government was based on a social contract, and that this social contract between the people and the government was necessary to create order. However, Locke believed that people in a state of nature were reasonable and moral, and that they had natural rights. Natural rights are rights belonging to all humans from birth, ones that can never be denied. These natural rights, according to John Locke, included life, liberty, and property. John Locke wrote a book called The Two Treatises on Government, and in this book he argued that governments were created to protect natural rights. He said that governments functioned best when powers of government were limited and their authority was accepted by all citizens. If a government failed to protect natural rights, Locke said, then people had the right to overthrow their government. Many of John Locke's ideas were read throughout the world and even used by Americans to justify their independence from Great Britain.